Hey everyone, welcome to Reformatted Mind. I'm Reformatted Dan, and this channel is dedicated to helping people with ADHD live better, feel better, get unstuck, and finally start moving forward. Today, we're talking about something subtle, but absolutely life-changing once you see it. The comfort trap. It's this sneaky mindset that quietly convinces you that once you finally reach some imaginary level of enough, you'll get to relax, feel secure, and actually enjoy your life. It took me years to realize I was trapped in this exact mindset. Years of chasing a feeling that never seemed to arrive. But before we can understand why that promise is so tempting, we have to look at what daily life actually feels like for an ADHD brain. So let's get started. Our low dopamine brains create this vast emotional wasteland we end up living in most of the time. Think about it. When we're not scrolling, gaming, talking with friends, or eating something sweet, there's just this emotional ick hanging over us. This constant malaise is the root of so much of what gets ADHD brains into trouble. If we sit in it too long, we start reflecting on everything we've neglected, how far behind we feel in life, all the things we should be doing. And that sends us spiraling into inadequacy, self-loathing, and sometimes even depression. But the flip side is this. We know we don't want to feel that way, so instead of sitting with the misery, we chase comfort. Anything that feels good enough to drown out that heavy emotional fog. And that's where the comfort trap snaps shut. Because every once in a while, we actually find it. A little dopamine oasis, a vacation, a new hobby, a fun activity that lights us up. For a moment, the misery lifts and we feel alive again. And when that happens, our brain immediately asks, why can't it be like this all the time? And even more dangerous, what do I have to do to make it like this all the time? So the chase begins. You say, I know, I'll start a business, I'll go back to school, I'll find some way to get there as fast as I can. This is when the mindset truly takes hold, the belief that if you can just reach some magical destination, all the heartache will finally disappear. Because underneath all of it is this quiet, unspoken core belief. Money solves everything. Money fixes the behind in life problem. It solves the success problem. Because hey, anybody with money must be successful, right? And most importantly, money gives you the ability to fund any dopamine-rich activity your brain can dream up. It sounds like heaven on earth. But, and I hate to burst your bubble, it doesn't actually work that way. Don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with chasing money or success. We all want to build something meaningful, and that's a good thing. But I don't want you falling into the trap I lived in for years. The fantasy that once you get there, your ADHD misery finally magically ends. Because here's the truth. The destination you're chasing doesn't actually exist. Wherever you are right now, you might be thinking, if I had $1 million, I'd finally be content. No, you wouldn't. Because ADHD or not, human brains are normalizing machines. No matter how incredible something feels at first, your brain eventually levels it out. What was once thrilling becomes normal. What once felt like the answer becomes just another baseline. Which means every step you take towards your imagined dream life eventually becomes just life. For example, you get a new car. At first you love it. You notice every detail, the smell, the touch screens, the way the seat hugs your back. And a few weeks later, it's just your car. It gets you from point A to point B just like the old one did. The magic fades. Same thing happens when you get a raise or move into a nicer place or accomplish something big. You get that rush, the little buzz of I did it, but then your brain recalibrates. And this would still happen even if you were a billionaire. It's a survival mechanism wired into your brain to keep you moving forward. In nature, staying comfortable for too long meant danger. Predators could find you if you stayed in the same spot. So your brain learned to nudge you out of comfort and into motion. You can't fight that wiring. And that's what makes the pursuit of lasting comfort such a trap. Your brain makes you feel like you're always one step away, one more raise, one more win, one more life upgrade. But the goalpost keeps moving because your brain keeps adjusting. And for those of us with ADHD, this normalizing process hits even harder. Your baseline low dopamine state eventually reasserts itself, and suddenly you're right back at square one looking for the next hit of what's next all over again. So the cycle continues, on to the next thing, and the next, and the next. And if you don't recognize what's happening, you can spend your entire life chasing a finish line that doesn't exist. Quick thing before I go on, if you like this kind of deep dive into ADHD solutions you've never thought about before, there's a place where we go much further with it. It's called the ADHD Thrive Method, and it's where I teach the exact mindset shifts and emotional frameworks that finally help me stop feeling behind in life and start building real momentum. If you've been struggling with procrastination, shame, feeling stuck, or just not understanding why your brain works the way it does, this course will connect the dots in a way nothing else really does. It's built on over 30 years of lived experience, research, and trial and error. All the things I wish someone had explained to me decades ago. So if you're ready to break out of the cycle you've been trapped in and finally move forward in a way that actually works with your ADHD brain, check out the ADHD Thrive method. You can find it on my website, reformattedmind.com, or just click the link in the description. Okay, so the comfort trap's real. So what's actually wrong with it if it motivates us to try and make ourselves better? Well, here's the problem. Your life-changing goals don't give you comfort now. They promise comfort someday and overwhelm you today. You tell yourself you need to give up comfort now so you can finally get there later. But ADHD makes long-term consistency a losing battle, so the plan falls apart. You want the success, desperately, but you also dread the work it takes to reach it. And when the dread wins, you blame yourself. You call yourself lazy, unmotivated, undisciplined, and that shame pulls you right back into the exact misery you were trying to escape. And when I saw this, that was the moment it finally hit me. I was chasing a version of comfort I could never actually reach. So I started asking a different question. What kind of comfort can I actually rely on with ADHD? What kind of comfort is realistic? And believe it or not, the answer lives inside the problem itself. If comfort can never be permanent, then maybe the goal is to experience it as often as possible. Because the truth is, comfort isn't a destination, it's a pit stop. It's a temporary state of mind your brain gives you after you've done something difficult. Not before, not during, and definitely not instead of. Your brain rewards you with satisfaction when you complete something, never when you avoid it. And this is the only time the reward happens. So when you're trying to escape the day-to-day misery of ADHD, I hate to say it, but the best way is to just do something. Not everything, not your whole list, just something. A little progress creates a little peace. I stopped sacrificing weeks, months, and even years of misery, hoping that one day I'd do enough to reach some imaginary permanent comfort. Instead, now I make smaller sacrifices each day and enjoy the temporary comfort of completion. I get to feel that comfort every day. This is how I overcome procrastination. This is how I get unstuck. I think about how I can get a break from feeling behind, feeling like a failure, feeling frustrated with myself. And literally the only solution that exists is to use that desire for relief as fuel to get something done today. Because here's the real problem. When we feel awful, doing the hard thing makes us feel even worse, at least at first. So avoidance feels safer. But it's counterfeit comfort. The longer you avoid something, the more it turns into guilt, anxiety, and frustration. You don't feel rested. You feel trapped. We think we're protecting ourselves by avoiding discomfort, but what we're really doing is postponing the only thing that brings real peace: progress. Comfort doesn't come from avoiding hard things. It comes from showing up, doing the work, and earning the calm that comes after. Let me show you what I mean. Imagine you're a caveman. You're hungry, and you know there's a tree nearby with ripe, juicy berries, but they're all the way at the top. You have two options. You can climb the tree, even though it's going to be hard, uncomfortable, and maybe even scary, or you can wander around hoping to stumble onto something easier. So you choose to wander. Time passes. Your hunger gets worse. Your frustration rises. You're tired, annoyed, and still empty. Meanwhile, if you had just climbed the tree, yeah, it would have sucked for a bit, but you'd be full now, satisfied, proud, at peace. That's the comfort trap in a nutshell. Avoiding the climb feels easier, but it keeps you starving. The comfort you're craving isn't at the bottom of the tree, it's after the climb. Now let's talk about why this matters specifically for ADHD. If you're thinking, but Dan, if I could get myself to do hard things, I wouldn't have ADHD. And you're not wrong. But let me give you some perspective you may never thought about. With ADHD, you're going to feel miserable either way. Avoidance misery or effort misery. And the difference is huge. Avoidance misery gives you no relief. Effort misery hurts up front, but afterwards, you get a break. Real peace, real pride, real comfort. And here's the paradox. ADHD brains rarely reward us before the work, but they absolutely reward us after. That post-effort dopamine is the one thing we almost never let ourselves feel because we get trapped avoiding the climb. So the next time you're dreading a task, tell yourself this: I can be miserable now and later, or miserable now and feel good afterward. One path gives you a tiny island of peace today, and the other steals it entirely. And that tiny island, that moment of post-effort clarity, is what we're all starving for. It's the one thing avoiding the climb will never give you. So instead of chasing the kind of comfort that is always running ahead of you, the kind that vanishes the moment you reach for it, start chasing the comfort that follows effort, the comfort of completion, the satisfaction of showing up when you didn't feel like it, the calm that comes after the discomfort, not the one that tries to avoid it. It's not a permanent feeling, nothing is, but it's real, it's renewable, and it's always available if you're willing to put in a little sweat first. As long as it gives me a break from the ick, it seems like a pretty fair trade to me. I hope this video helped you or gave you something to think about, and I'd love to keep sharing more with you. Please take a second to like the video and subscribe. It really does help more people with ADHD find this channel and realize they're not alone. And if you've got a story, a question, or even just a thought, share it in the comments. You never know how your words might help someone else see things in a new way. Thanks for being here, and I'll see you in the next one.